How are you doing? Hey! Any particular reason why I'm wearing this robe? Is it to make a point? No, it's not. It's actually cold and extremely humid outside. It's like rain for a couple days, and it's always very comfortable to wear this. I made this robe with my own two hands. It's made out of hemp, by the way. I made it like, whew, oh man, 25, 28 years ago? Yeah? Long time. Very, very comfortable. And indestructible, no less. And non-UV reactive. Quite a wonderful natural fabric. It's twill hemp. Used to be a shop in town where you could actually buy this stuff. I noticed everybody was kind of surprised on the video that I made a couple nights ago about what's going on. And, you know, I actually did edit the end of the video. And I cut it off there on purpose. And it was cut off in the appropriate point at the last word. But you know, everybody thought that I had been cut off. But no, I actually did do that on purpose, believe it or not. I have a couple belts to make. I'm completely out of harness leather for making the super tough, and also too I make holsters out of it for just for local people. I made myself a holster a few days ago. Should have brought it in here to show you. I've made hundreds of holsters. Anyway, I make these really tough harness leather belts out of the finest, most expensive harness leather. It's actually a 10 to 11 ounce leather, and these solid brass buckles, actually. Everybody that I've sent them to said it's the toughest belt they've ever seen in their life. I'm glad everybody's really pleased. It's amazing what it takes just to make a simple belt. If you're interested, just send me a message. And no, this video is not me about, you know, trying to push a belt or anything. I was at Lowe's yesterday, and I tried to buy a tarp. Well, I did buy a tarp, and some of the construction workers' super thick bags for containing some stuff. And they completely eliminated out the checkout lanes. And I see this is kind of happening a lot of places. You know, one thing, as evil as the big box stores are, when you actually go there, if you see something that's new, that means it's trending because they have so much corporate influence at the top echelons of government and whatnot, that the positions of where things are changing will appear there first. I know this is kind of happening all over the world. It used to be 4 checkout lanes, self-checkout lanes, and then 3 cash registers. Now they've completely removed the actual cashiers, and they've replaced them with more checkout lanes, except all of them are credit card except for one. So I had some wrinkled bills. You know, you stick a wrinkled bill, and you know, the machine always rejects it and it spits it back out. And you got 2 goofballs that I could hear the wind whistling between their ears that are standing there looking at me. So where that bleep are the cashier? Oh yeah, those are all gone. You know, there's one down there by the lumber because, you know, you don't want to pick up gigantic 2x4s and whatnot and try to scan it with a barcode scan, even if it's a hand scanner. Like there's one down at the other end of the store for, you know, construction workers and whatnot, you know, to pick up the heavy-duty supplies, a regular cashier. Also, too, because there would be potentially an enormous amount of theft there if it were self-checkout. All of it is going this way. Anyway, it took me forever to cut myself there on the chin. You probably noticed that. It took me forever there to get checked out. Everything is going this way, and they're doing it in stages, of course. And it's like, well, your options are about that big now for using cash. And soon it's going to be, no, we don't take cash here anymore. Which there is supposed to be a law about it being illegal not to accept valid U.S. tender for a purchase. However, I don't know how much corporate policy or store policy, you know, supersedes that, but that's a really bad earmarker. I know this is an American holiday, Thanksgiving tomorrow, but I always notice every year that right around this block, and it's perfectly reasonable, that people are just not watching videos. They're with their friends and family, as they should be. And it also, too, gives me the opportunity to take a couple days off for some very, very much needed rest. I actually, even though I do streams normally Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, I like to do additionally tomorrow as well, which is Thursday, because a lot of people requested, you know, they don't have family or whatever, and, you know, just get together and watch me be goofy and try to make them laugh on Thanksgiving. So do a live stream also too tomorrow, but as well as tonight. I like Christmas or holiday gifts, whatever holiday you do or don't celebrate. I actually don't really celebrate any holidays. Is things that people use every day. That way they're thinking about you. I'm huge on titanium. I have a few of these in various places. These are, you can get them for like 10 or 11 bucks, and they last forever. I'm a huge fan, by the way, of things that you only need one of for the rest of your life, unless you lose it, of course. These are actually titanium straws, surgical grade titanium. You don't want to actually give these to children because they could actually trip with their sippy cup and, you know, accidentally, you know, do this, you know, something dangerous I won't mention. You can probably figure that out. So you shouldn't give them to children, but for well, a lot of adults now are children, so for adults, you know, buying one or two of these or one for the whole family, you know, it depends on, they come at, by the way, this is actually not a coating like powder coating. This is a electrochemical bath. So they actually dip them in. It's literally part of the titanium. You apply a certain voltage. You can get basically any color in the rainbow if you apply the correct voltage. You just dip them in there, zap. It'll make them blue or purple. So they just actually still is 100% titanium and a surgical grade titanium. You can find them on Etsy and eBay and Amazon. Yes, I know that site is quite evil. I try never to shop there myself. They're like 10 or 11 bucks a pop, and they're great. Great stuffing, hello, I'm going to edit that out of this video. Stocking stuffers, and I can't do better than that, especially when someone's using it every day, then they're always thinking about you every day. By the way, I've got nearly, man, if I kept my live streams up, it'd be over 10,000 videos, but I don't keep my live streams up. And the reason why I don't is it breaks the continuity of everything. That's the reason why I always remove them after a live stream. It just breaks the continuity of the videos. But if I did keep them up, it'd be over 10,000 videos easily. I'm a simple person. I'm not out to, you know, endorse things I don't believe in. And I make a lot of videos on philosophy and metaphysics. And also, too, Natura Naturans, or basically Mother Nature for short. And explaining field theory, metaphysics, and philosophy, which are all one and the same thing. Physics, metaphysics, philosophy, field theory. You have not thought much at all if you think that these are different things. Well, over here is metaphysics, there's physics, there's a philosophy, over here is field theory. It's all one thing, or as the Greeks would call it, a holos, an undivided whole. It's kind of like humans pigeonholing. So over here we got ice, and over here we got water, and over here we got steam. These are all one thing. They're just different temperature and pressure modalities of water, right? Same is true of physics, metaphysics, philosophy. People are like, why did you do physics videos on physics, metaphysics, philosophy, and physics? Well, it's all one thing. It's talking about the ultimate picture of the universe. And I'm completely insulted and impinged against at every level, both intellectually and otherwise, at the idea of how relativists and quantum paint the picture of the universe. I hope my microphone wasn't buzzing there. It kind of rolled over. Sorry about that. Someone's like, your audio's scratching up. You know, someone does it on the TV. Their audio is scratching up against their shirt. You got to be really careful with these lav mics. They have great advantages, but great disadvantages. But these things that actually violate Occam's razor, relativity and quantum, and paint nature as a complete absurdity, because nature cannot be complicated. It's a complete violation of natural order. Mother Nature, as I've humorously said, is a hairy armpit chick with muddy feet and a hemp skirt. Hey, I'm wearing hemp today myself. Hey! Well, I certainly don't look like Mother Nature, unless she was a man and bald and fat and tattooed. But I love simplifying things. I wished I could get people to see the simplicity and divinity of the circuit of light, because what light fundamentally is extremely simple, and it's certainly nothing that you and I were ever taught growing up. And I knew it was wrong ever since I was extremely young. It's like light cannot be this way. It's not an emission. It doesn't travel. It doesn't have a speed, it's not an emission, it's not a photon, it's not a wave. There's such a thing as a wave. Wave's not a thing, or rather what a thing does. All of these things are fundamentally not what light is. And of course I make a lot of videos about light using different analogies and approaching it from different angles. By the way, if you click the description below, you can complain about this if you like, but I always gratefully ask if you appreciate my videos. Even $1 is extremely helpful. Any donation at all. You don't have to donate anything. I've got nothing that I put. Even if people aren't members, they send me emails. They want to call me. There's a nice Filipino lady that was looking at land a few days ago. I fielded her phone calls. It wasn't my land. And I was fielding her phone calls and giving her tips and tricks, and I wasn't expecting anything from her. I love to be helpful. But that's in the description below, but nobody ever has to donate anything. But I always appreciate it, honestly, because I know the whole world. I'm not out of touch like a lot of people are. A lot of people are out of touch. They just don't know what's going on. They're living in their own nutshell. I know what's going on in the world. I know people have it tough. I work 7 days a week also. Everybody's basically working twice as hard and making half as much. I totally get that. I really do. Even my donations are down 95%. I've changed nothing about myself. I haven't become, fatter or uglier or more tattooed or changed my personality. I mean, I stay true to what I am, and I always have. But I know what's going on in the world. I keep my eyes peeled, but I just wanted to say absolutely anything all is incredibly helpful. I'd like to talk more before the end of this year, towards this end of this year, and I'm working, almost finished with the booklet on retroduction, and I'm always working on articles and booklets and working on several things at one time that people want to discuss fuel propulsion tech versus current tech, and it's just a natural evolution. I mean, today we're actually using electric and or propane stoves. I mean, current explosion tech for propulsion, whether it be automobile or rocket, solid fuel, or liquid hydrogen, liquid oxygen, hydrazine, all of this is the exact same thing as explosion tech. And when I talk about fuel propulsion tech, and it's just a natural evolution of any species, and actually as it progresses intellectually as far as the sciences. We don't, even though it's fun, build campfires and cook our food, even though I find it quite enjoyable. Over a campfire, we have houses and roofs and whatnot, yet we're more disconnected from nature. We use, a completely different technology for many of the things in which we live, including communication. And this natural evolution from explosion technology to fuel propulsion technology is just undeniable. It's already out there in the hands of the government. We could talk about that, and I'm not interested in tinfoil hat stuff. I'm interested in facts, logic, and wisdom, as I always have been, but a lot of people want to discuss that. I wanted to talk with you, and I read every comment. I'm encountering more and more people that are in a brain fog. There's just, you're encountering it too, and I have a lot of people that tell me about it, and I see it all the time. It's like, it's not just a level of ignorance or the consequences for the stupidity that's going on in the world, which is really, really rampant in Western society. It's just a type of brain fog. I'm not going to speculate upon what that could be due to in a chain of causation, but it's quite astonishing. People have become so unreliable. We've got quiet quitting, complete unreliability, and stuff that used to be a 10-year-old, you could count on a 10-year-old to understand. It's like, you don't do that. It's like, little Bobby, 10 years old, little Susie. They understood that just as recently as 15, 20 years ago. And now, you got, soy boy man babies, my age. Their brain is trying to work. They're not pushing it. But they can't connect something a 10-year-old could put together 15 or 20 years ago. I'd love to hear your comments on that because I'm seeing so much of it. And it's not really the dumbing down of our so-called education system, which is not an education system at all, and it's not the consequences of sheer stupidity and the complete implosion of our education system. It's something else entirely. There's a subconscious zeitgeist and an ethos that's running through society, essentially in every country. And I'd like to hear from you about it, and I'd like to talk more about it in the future. Not that that's a very exciting topic at all, but just something I'd like to make a video or two about. Something else, and I have the links below, and I just get some bunny points. I never recommend anything that I myself haven't already spent my money on and tested. And they're still currently on sale until, I forget, like December the 15th. These are the 200 amp hour, 12.8 volt lithium iron phosphate, or LiFePO batteries, as my buddy loves to call them. I use these at my cabin. I've used these here with a power inverter. You can get a charger, by the way, and you can even go to CarQuest or Advanced Auto and get a little select charger that'll actually let you choose between lead acid and lithium. It's small, and it takes a long time to charge one of these via one of those little tiny devices, but they also too sell the chargers online for these. Whether you're mobile or home and the power goes out, to keep the critical stuff on, like this mini fridge, like some people have. I don't, not me. Some people might have insulin or whatever, stuff that needs to be refrigerated, or expensive foods or meats, that you don't want to go bad. I mean, one of these, and I got two of these here, will power one of these for a long time. These are ultra low consumption devices. Also too, your computer, charge your cell phone, your laptop, mini fridge, obviously back there, your lighting systems, your TV set, stuff to make life comfortable. For an emergency, they're absolutely a must-go, and those are still on sale. Those are in the description below. I only get some bunny points. I'm not getting any remuneration from that. I'm actually trying to buy another one of the batteries off of the bunny points from that, but it would take an awful lot of bunny points to do that. I have a few hundred bunny points from the video I made a few days ago on those. But just wanted to say, I know a lot of people, Americans, are taking off, and this is a quiet period, and this will give me a chance, a 48-hour window of rest. However, I'm going to do live stream tonight, and also too on Thanksgiving night, and people enjoy it and get together that they don't have any family to get together with, and I don't do any holidays myself. But I'm a simple person, and I love being helpful. I really do, and I try to lead a simple life. I appreciate the quiet time that I have am afforded, because I am in really deep thought about some deep subjects basically all the time. And this is the reason why I'm always stubbing my toes and bumping into stuff, because my mind is building things and taking things apart as far as cosmic mechanics in my head when I'm walking around, and I'm always, I really hurt the hell out of my toe earlier today. It's because I was in deep thought and I stubbed it into something. That's the way that I am. I don't know if that's fortunate or unfortunate. But I hope you like these videos. I'm just a simple person. I'm not trying to, get ahead in life or be somebody or, accumulate a bunch of stuff, that I can look at. I know it gives some people purpose. They accumulate stuff, and then they put their fists on their hips, and they look at their stuff. It's like, yeah, that's a lot of stuff. Look at that, man. That's the biggest collection of whatever it is. I laugh at that, but that, unfortunately, and that's just sheer materialism. It gives people fulfillment. The greatest wonder of my life is figuring out some of the huge, deep secrets. I can see what light is, and I have unified light and matter, which I've done in countless videos, and I made a prediction that came true, and I made that prediction 2 years before it was discovered that constructive interference of super high energy light would produce fundamental matter, because that's what matter is super high energy light. Everything's a compound of hydrogen. Okay, so that's unification of light matter. I made a prediction about bismuth, because bismuth, being the most diamagnetic element, means it is supradielectric. I said dialectic. Hello! Supradielectric, and that they would discover some advanced compound using bismuth as a form of super fast information transfer. And oh my gosh, did they. It's like way beyond what they thought that was the theoretical limit. I forget the compound. It's a really complex compound, but it's rooted around bismuth. I made that prediction 3 years before it was discovered. You think I would actually be able to apply that to creating a patent. I have a lot of things in my head, inventions, but I can't afford a patent. 2 of them, actually 3 of them, would be very, very nice for a patent, but I can't afford that. I would love to get them patented, but I have ideas about inventions all the time, but mere ideas are step number 1. It's like, where do you find the time? It takes time and money, and it takes a lot of effort to get things patented. And these are things that I don't have. I have the creativity, but I don't have the time or the funds to pursue a patent. And you could spend an enormous amount of time and money and still end up nowhere because patents are stolen. The ideas are hijacked, and lawsuits and injunctions. I've heard so many horror stories about patents, like, well, you're infringing on this person so-and-so, even though your patent is autonomous from that, because it's kind of like this other patent. I've heard those horror stories ad nauseum from people that actually do hold patents. Anyway, I'm engaging in lokomaki, which is a fancy word for lip flapping. I just wanted to say I hope you appreciate the videos that I do. I know they're extremely simple. But I want them simple rather than fancy. A lot of people actually make flashy videos that don't have anything in them. They're kind of like sugar-coated steaming piles of poo. And there's one set of videos, and I'm not going to name them. I've heard people, have you ever watched those videos? I'm not going to say what videos they are. And, you know, they're very beautifully done visually. But the explanations within them are absolutely obnoxious, atrocious, unintelligent, sophistic, backwards. They're just really, really bad. And I've come to the inevitable conclusion, even though I knew this to begin with, that if you make pretty trash, people will love it and believe it. But if you make something that's like low-budget fact, 99% of everybody is utterly unimpressed. So, which would you rather like, you know, sugar-coated poo, or the boring, low-budget, no-budget, basically, the low-budget to no-budget, demonstrable, logical, rational fact discussion regarding physics or metaphysics, and those are not 2 different things or one thing. And people, 99% of the time, will choose A. I'm not an A sort of person. I'm a B sort of person. I'm interested in facts, logic, and wisdom, and what is truly reflective of nature. Because descriptions are not explanations. One thing I've encountered over and over and over again is that people will give you a description for something, and they'll think that's an explanation. And it's not. People say, oh, I'll say, what's the golden ratio? Everybody talks about the golden ratio and the divine proportion, which this is. This is a cross-section of a nautilus shell. And I say, well, it's beauty in nature. It's like, well, you made a correct description, even though it was a very, very narrow description, but you didn't actually explain what the golden ratio or the golden section or the divine proportion, there's a lot of different names for one and the same thing. You didn't explain what it is, why it is, how it is, what its essa or essence is. I'm like, well, and my interest is in the explanation or the essence, why something is the way that it is, not merely describe, well, it's beautiful. That's why it's the golden section or the golden ratio. It's golden. We see it in nature, and it's everything beautiful. Well, that's the accurate description, but you didn't explain anything. Anyway, if you're interested in a belt, oh, by the way, I have to show you this. My buddies from Florida sent me this. I got it today. It's a Dawson knife. It's a utility knife, and I got it. It's a holiday gift from them. It's very beautiful. And there it is. Oh, crikey, mate. That was my horrible Australian accent. Oh, you Aussie bogan. That's not a knife. That's a knife. Anyway, I want to say thanks to my friends in Florida for sending me this wonderful Dawson, the utility tool. I'm going to call it a utility tool. It's really, really awesome. Super high quality. That's right, you Aussie bogan. It's my new favorite Aussie slang term. Grotty Aussie bogan. I love Australians, by the way. I'm not referring to Australians that way. I was video chatting with my Aussie friend in Sydney the other day via Facebook video chat. And he's telling me some of the horrible things that are happening down in Australia, but that's a matter for another discussion of video. I wish everybody happy Turkey Day. I hope you eat lots of Americans. I know this is an American holiday, okay? Hope you have a big fat turkey and pumpkin pie or whatever. I'll be sitting here, and I will do live stream tomorrow, which I don't normally do since it'll be a Thursday. But I love communicating with people and talking and laughing with people. I've saved a few lives during the holidays over the years, and that's one thing I find is really, really wonderful. Someone's super down, and they're like, man, you really cheered me up, or I emailed you and you gave me some wonderful advice, and man, I was at the end of my rope. And that's kind of stuff, whatever you and I think about social media, and you know what I'm talking about, that kind of stuff is really wonderful. I really, really do appreciate that. That's just awesome. Thank you so much for watching, and have a happy holiday. Yeah. Remember that fear is the enemy of wisdom. With wisdom and insight and being prepared, fear is the dirt underneath your feet. It's nothing. Thank you. Goodbye.